I'm sorry, I cannot take your call right now. Either leave me a message at the embassy or call me back later. Thank you. Hugh Penvellyn here.
Hello, Mr. Penvellyn. This is Nancy Drew. I'm the one who's visiting Linda. You know, from the United States, across the pond.
Hugh Penvellyn.
Hello, Mr. Penvellyn. It's Nancy Drew again.
Yes, good to hear from you. I am a bit pressed for time, however. Hugh Penvellyn.
Hi, Mr. Penvellyn.
Nancy, how can I help you? I'm sorry, I cannot take your call right now. Either leave me a message at the embassy or call me back later. Thank you.
Well, he did say he was busy.
I'm sorry, I cannot take your call right now. Either leave me a message at the embassy or call me back later. Thank you.
Still not there.
Yes, of course. Are you at Blackmoor?
Yes, I am, and I've talked to Linda.
Good for you, because frankly, that's something I've been quite unable to do lately. These temper tantrums of hers make rational discourse well nigh impossible. Absolutely none. Ever since I left for Italy. We'll be talking on the phone about the weather or Jane's lessons or something equally innocuous, and suddenly she'll be bellowing at me and slamming the phone down. I promise you, these rages of hers are totally uncalled for and quite unbearable. I love her dearly, but she's making things very difficult. Everything sets her off. Yes, Aunt Letitia. We're not very close, however. She's always been rather aloof, much more interested in being a Penvellyn than a person, if you know what I mean. As far as I know, yes, although I have caught my aunt eyeing Linda strangely at times. And of course there's the 6-month habitation clause.
The what?
That's putting it mildly. But then I imagine she's feeling a bit insecure. She's getting on in years and she's alone and she's totally dependent upon me. Financially, that is. Although there is the 6-month habitation clause.
The what?
According to the Penvellyn rules of inheritance, the spouse of Blackmoor Manor's current owner, that would be Linda since I'm the current owner, the spouse of the current owner must reside in the manor for at least 6 months. Should she or he leave the manor before 6 months is up, ownership of one half of the estate immediately passes to the next legal heir.
And that would be Mrs. Drake.
Correct. Quite the bundle of energy, isn't she? I'm sure she is, what with a private tutor instead of school and Linda being under the weather. And coming back to Blackmoor no doubt reminds her of her real mother. Renee and I were divorced almost 2 years ago. Jane went into a bit of a tailspin for a while, but she's come to adore Linda. She's been calling her Mummy since the day we were married. Only that they're hundreds of years old and are undoubtedly dangerously decayed. Jane has been ordered to stay out of them. Fortunately, it's highly doubtful she'll even figure out how to get in them. 1 or 2, I suppose. I'm really not sure. I vaguely recall blundering into one when I was a child, but it was very dark and ended rather abruptly, and I found the whole experience to be rather unremarkable. When I told my father what I'd discovered, he merely shrugged, agreed that the passageways were dark, decrepit, and pointless, suggested that I stay out of them, and that was the end of it. I dare say I've never touched it. Mathematics, computer science, linguistics, all the things that fascinated my scholarly father bored me to tears. He gave up on me quite early on. With Jane, however, it was a different story.
What do you mean?
From the day she was born, my father doted on her, far more than he ever doted on me. Read to her, bought her books, games. Truth be told, I was a bit jealous. He passed away when she was still a toddler, so it's unlikely she remembers all the attention he showered on her. But I do, and I still find it so out of character as to be mystifying. No, that was my aunt's doing.
Mrs. Drake?
Yes, she absolutely insisted. She said the Bossinies had been tutoring the Penvellyns for centuries and that I was duty-bound to continue the tradition. She kept saying that it's what her brother would have wanted.
Her brother being Alan, your father?
Yes, and I must say I've been quite pleased with Ethel. She's a fine young woman, and Jane seems to enjoy her lessons, strange as they are. Ethel demands that Jane study history, obscure history, Penvellyn history. They discuss events that even I, as a direct descendant, find inconsequential, to say nothing of deadly dull. Ever since we moved back here from the U.S., Jane probably wishes she were in school, like the one she attended in New York, but she doesn't complain, although I would if I were her.
Why?
Well, that would be my ex-wife's brother. Other than the fact that he wears the most ill-fitting, worse-looking toupee that was ever created? No. Why?
Just curious.
A guinea pig? Well, seeing as most guinea pigs are covered with hair and Roger's pate is rather sparsely populated, In my opinion, he would have nothing in common with a guinea pig, save perhaps its IQ. Why do you ask?
It's a long story.
Pure medieval fiction, the product of little minds in an era of dangerously little education. I have forbidden Ethel to so much as mention it to Jane. Where did you hear about it?
The man doing research in the library, Nigel Mukherjee?
Another of my aunt's ideas. The fact that the Penvellyns have never had a book written about them has been a perpetual source of social embarrassment for her. For months now. Not that he's much of a bother. He's quiet as a church mouse, and he never seems to set foot out of the library. He was recommended by a friend, and he has assured us over and over that the book he publishes will cast only a positive light upon the Penvellyn name. Although, come to think of it, I never have seen the contract he agreed to sign, which was to put that promise in writing. The columns in the Great Hall open up. Why on earth would they do that?
I'm not sure yet.
And more to the point, what do the columns in the Great Hall have to do with Linda?
I'm not sure about that either.
My mother-in-law's counting on you to find out what's wrong with Linda. I'm counting on you. Linda's counting on you. I do hope you won't allow yourself to get distracted. Vaguely. Oh, yes. At least, I think it was a guinea pig. As I recall, it spent most of its life hiding under the shoebox Jane had put in its cage. It was black, I think. Harmless fellow. Utterly useless, of course, but harmless.
What happened to him?
It passed away a year or two ago. I told Jane she was feeding him too much, but, well, at least the little bloke died happy. Renee is in Rome too? I knew she was traveling, but she neglected to tell me her itinerary. Fortunately, it's a big city, but thank you for the warning. Anything else? Anytime. This is an extremely busy time for me, so I apologize in advance if you call and I'm unavailable.
I understand.
Good. Cheerio. Do keep me posted. Good luck. Wish I could be of more help.